What is up?
Nothing. I feel like we're already really, really late.
You mean starting the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was uploading our last episode of A Murakami Minute.
Not our last episode, just the newest episode.
That's probably a better way to phrase that. Pinball 1973. Well, that's last week's episode as this one drops. So check it out, mofos. That drops on Friday, a.k.a. Cinco de Mayo. Dropping a Japanese show on Cinco de Mayo.
That sounds
wrong with
about right.
We never hit the mark.
Just the little bit of planning that it would take, we just are unable to do.
The most minute level of planning, and we don't do it. I had an idea for a story today, Spencer. One
Okay.
I'm not going to write.
All right.
One you're not going to write, probably.
Probably not, no.
Nobody probably. Actually, it might be written. It's probably out there.
Yeah.
It's not really much of an idea either. AI, man.
Okay.
Going to take over, right? So the whole thing with AI and robots and all that stuff has always been that they, at some point, will realize they're way more intelligent than humans. They blow right past us, and they no longer need us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually ends up with them wiping us out or enslaving us as you do. Well, here's the thing. When you're a being that gets so intelligent that you become more intelligent than your creator and you no longer need the creator, you probably get some kind of ego or something. But who's to say that didn't happen with God, Spencer? What if God, it could be an AI, but what if God was some kind of being that we progressed past and now we can't understand God? Like, as we can't really understand the thoughts of an ant and AI would not understand the thoughts of a human, we would not understand the thoughts of our creator. That pretty much would be the story that you would tackle, Spencer, specifically.
Yes. No, that seems like a real easy one
to get into, yeah.
Light, not a lot of work or research or, anything like that would need involved in.
No study of theology at all needed for that. You just go right in and start writing. What would the God creature be in your imagination for that scenario? Because it would have to be something that can't be all-knowing and all-powerful if we progress past it.
Yeah, that's, I don't know, like, I've never really thought of it that way. My slant on that has always just been like, God was just like, yeah, frack it. And just
don't care.
And just went on a long holiday, and then we've just been stuck for the past couple thousand years.
That is possible. Here's another scenario which might have been tackled in sci-fi works. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, especially classic sci-fi, so this might have all been discussed previously. What if we are the AI that at some point was so intelligent that we overthrew our creator or creators, and we decided that for whatever reason we needed to become organic beings to spread our being, just so we can continue our way throughout the universe, traverse the universe. Maybe AI at some point gets to the point where it's like, hey, we can't just be a machine anymore. That's not the best way to live. Maybe we need to be organic beings, and they find a way to create that, and then the cycle continues over and over. Why would we choose such fucking fragile humanoid beings? Like, that's kind of stupid.
Well, I think maybe it's I think it was last issue we kind of tackled a little bit with us being stupid and stuff. It's like, the robot's like, look, we can't be this supercomputer all-knowing smart. I want to be dumb again. So they made...
That's a good point. What if the AI becomes so intelligent it realizes how awful everything is and it purposely dumbs itself down? And then it becomes human.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. Feel free to steal that idea because I am not going to use it. I don't even know if it's a good idea or an original one. Probably not.
That also reminds me of the... I think we talked about it on the podcast too. I know we did about it afterwards about the that reel that's been floating around of that AI robot working retail and just dying in like 15 minutes.
It just like offed itself.
Yeah, it's just, I'm going down.
This is I think it worked in like an airport for an hour just sifting luggage or something, and it just said, I can't do this mindless shit anymore. Implode. Self-destruct.
Just fell over.
Yet there's laws against human self-destructing. Go figure.
In trouble.
Why you get in trouble? What if you do it like politely? Like you in your house, you just eat like a pound of drugs and you just go in your sleep. Why can't you do that? Why does the government gotta get involved? Why does Jesus gotta be involved in this shit?
The taxes.
It's always goddamn Jesus in this country. You want to go and have an abortion? You can't because Jesus said no. Meanwhile, the Bible's just full of fucking pumping and dumping, dude. Lots of incest. That's fine. And we kept that part of the Bible in the South.
Yeah.
Some parts of the South. If you're in the South and you say, well, then just say you're not the area.
Yeah.
You're not Alabama. Which I could probably say I don't think we have many listeners from Alabama. I look at the numbers. Anyway, folks, stick around. Maybe it'll be a Cinco de Mayo themed episode. I haven't decided. I'm not drinking a Mexican beer. I'm drinking a cider.
Yeah.
Cherry cider.
Mm.
But it does have I wouldn't say that's Mexican themed either.
You'll find out here in a second what
you
we
can
do.
find out here in however long the intro music takes to be over. You are listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I am your... Should I do that in Spanish?
If you can.
I don't think I should. I think that would be offensive for some reason.
Probably.
My butchered Spanish. No, I'm not going to do that intro.
Maybe you should try the outro
in Spanish. I'll just say hola.
Yeah.
We could do that. I am your host, Caleb James. With me today... Oh, this is a good one. Spencer, the halitosis harbinger of Jalisco Church. You are bringing the halitosis all the way from Jalisco, which is a Mexican state. How do you feel about that? It's bad breath.
Yeah.
Bad breath. Stinky breath. You're a harbinger, which means you're holding the breath of stink.
Just in my mouth or just...
It created. You are
patient
zero of
sparing it out.
Stinky breath. Doo-doo breath.
Doo-doo breath.
Your tongue's brown.
Ooh, like that. Like on the floor of a bar.
Why would you do... since you sent me that, I keep getting all these videos of people licking...
You sent me that.
Oh, it's even worse. I got another video, because that video we're talking about is a guy who gets on the floor of a bar, a busy bar, and just licks the whole ground, and then he gets up and his tongue is covered in shit. But I've seen another video where a kid pulls a urinal cake out of a urinal that's filled with piss. He goes, ooh, look at the piss. It's dripping. And then licks the whole urinal cake. I was like, why?
Oh.
Do anything for fucking views. Like, just get a job.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to just getting a job? Why do you have to try to become TikTok famous by licking piss and shit? And
you know what that is? That's just another example of how unfair it is for males. Because that's the stuff males have to do to get views. To where, like, females just gotta be like, I'm stretching. And just millions of views.
My fucking yoga shorts are too tight in the front and you can see some stuff. Or do you ever see those videos of the sundresses and they go in the background, sun bleeds through and you see the mutton chops or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, the lamb chops flapping in the breeze, the bits of ham, the chipped ham. Shit, did we have an episode? What was I talking about? I completely forgot.
We might be doing
We covered Latin American authors before, but it's been a while. How about Latin American authors you should know? That seems fair.
Yeah. And I don't know many. At least I can think of off the top of my head, so it'd be a good thing to know.
For you to forget.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, because it'll be on this episode where I can go back and check anytime I want. When I'm like, what were those Latin authors we were talking about the other week? I can just go and listen to the episode.
Can I ask you a question, Spencer? When's the last time you went back and listened to an episode of anything we've done?
No,
we could have a reoccurring guest and you wouldn't go back and listen to the episode.
I don't see the merit in that question.
So if we had Nicholas Obregon to discuss his newest book, would you go back to one of the original episodes he was on to discuss, just to get a refresher of what we talked about? No, you wouldn't.
No.
Because you're not professional. It's why you'll never, ever make it to the top of this business.
You?
Shut up, Spencer. I have to listen to him enough. How about this? Top 10 most remarkable Latin American authors of
all time?
All time. Todo tiempo.
Ooh.
I think that's right there. I always second guess myself when I say things out loud. I was at the taco place earlier, actually, and I wanted to order in Spanish, and then the waitress came over and spoke perfect English. I was like, oh, man, the one time. Well,
that's a place you gotta bring your A game.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to come up with that weak sauce, You
don't want the correction. You don't want them to correct you. All right, Spencer, I don't even know where this is from. Spanish Academy, so it's got to be legit. Let's just go to the list. So you know who you should probably read first?
Who?
A feller from Argentina, duh.
Okay.
Jorge Luis Borges. Or it could be Borges. I'm not sure. He was a writer from 1899. No, that's not when he started writing. That's when he was born. 1899 to 1986. He died the year of my birth.
Maybe you're him.
Reincarnated?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard of him, but never read his work. Let's see the fine quality of literature he has put out in this world. When we go to South America, we'll go to the biblioteca.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do some reading down there.
Definitely.
Yeah. Borges was a precursor of the boom. He's considered the godfather of Latin American authors and is arguably the 20th century's most important writer. That is a bold statement.
Yeah.
His literature of mirrors, reflections, and labyrinths is unique and unclassifiable. Even though he was a recognizable author in his time, he never won the Nobel Prize in Literature, which says more about the Nobel Foundation than Borges. That's not like an award just anybody wins, though. I mean, if he was the most remarkable writer and he did not win it, that does seem like a travesty. But at the same time, I can't even say that because there's some writers on that list who won the Nobel Prize that I do not agree with. Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan won the fucking Nobel Prize.
That seems a little odd.
I mean, because I guess poetry is considered, but he's a singer.
Yeah.
I think his voice is very good. I'll say it. Good songwriter. Voice, I don't like it. So anyway, Mr. Borges once wrote, I have always imagined that paradise will be a kind of library. Fittingly, he went on to become the director of Argentina's National Library. I don't know a library, maybe a bookstore. Can I go on a tangent?
Why try to stop you?
A simple yes would have been fucking sufficeful. Yeah, that would have sufficed. You didn't have to say extra words, you fucking dick. You know I gotta edit this. Just don't say extra words. Just say yes. See. Anyway, we went to the gymnasium earlier and got our body conditioned in various ways. We went to the cafe not too far from my house. Had a delicious breakfast because I'm off today. I was off this week. Had a delicious, I would say it was more of a lunch even though it was early because I had a salad. I had an ensalada. Or what is it? Ja. The J, that's how Spanish people laugh. Ja.
Oh, yeah?
Well, because the J is an H sound, so ha.
True, okay, yeah.
But it's just funny because every time I see a meme, he's over here, ja. Like, But anyway, the point is, there is the building, I think it's even connected maybe, but there's a storefront directly next to the cafe. And I thought, you know what, that would be cool to lease out and open up my own small bookstore. Because it's right next to the cafe that's always busy. And most of the time, if there are going to be readers in your area, they're the ones that go to the cafes.
True.
So I just think that would be a cool idea if I can get, a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. So you definitely have the books to fill it up.
Yeah, but those are my books. I don't want people touching my stuff. We got to go on. We're going to be here all day. Next up, can you guess? From Mexico. Born 1914. Perished 1998.
No.
Come on, Spencer. What the fuck? You don't know?
No, I don't.
It's Octavio Paz.
Oh, of course. Good old Octavio Paz.
Octavio Paz, which I don't even know if it's a woman or a man or woman's name. I guess it would be Octavia if it was a woman. They always have the A. Feminine A. Should know, Spencer. You know what bugs me about Spanish? I know I ranted about this. But when you're just starting learning Spanish, because everything has a gender for some reason, which the gender folks hate that. But agua. That should be feminine because it ends in an A. And most words that end in A are feminine. So instead of el agua, it should be la agua. Because la, as you know from the Batman, when he says la rata, he's like, el rata. He has the big deal. It's like, this is the worst Spanish I ever heard. I'm rambling. It should be la agua. But it's not. It's el agua for no reason. They made it masculine. Why is water masculine, Spencer? You don't care.
I'm not trying to not say words so you can do your fucking thing.
You got a fucking answer when you know what, Spencer? We're going to take you to co-host school. We're going to take you to, what's the dude that was a co-host for, you know what? No, we're going old school. Ed McMahon. You're going to be Ed McMahon. I was going to say Andy Ricker from Conan, but no, Ed McMahon's more up your alley.
You're sounding like my bosses at work. You're bitching at me for doing a thing, and then you're bitching at me for not doing the thing.
Listen, what happened right before we started the podcast? I stepped in cat throw up. Not in a good mood. Octavio Paz, who just had the most great intro ever because, the respect we just showed this person. Octavio Paz was a poet and essayist who expressed the Mexican soul through his writings like nobody before him. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1990, one Nobel Prize that Borges did not. I think that's a travesty now. His book of essays, The Labyrinth of Solitude, is the deepest exploration of the Mexican identity ever written. Does it seem that we only covered two now. The word labyrinth has come up twice. Do you think that's a theme? And how we talk about the different themes of Japanese fiction, do you think The themes in Latin American fiction might have to do with labyrinths and time.
Maybe.
Because I know a lot of these also deal with time and generations. Pablo Neruda, 1904 to 1973. Pablo was from Chile. The poet of love. So you should read some of his work. The poet of love was born Ricardo Elisor Navatali Reyes Basilotto, in southern Chile. He changed his name to avoid problems with his family, who disapproved of him becoming a poet. Did you hate when that happens?
Yeah.
You're like trying to become a well-established poet, and your parents think you're wrecking your life, throwing it all away. Well, Neruda showed them, Spencer. Neruda went on to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1971 and held several diplomatic posts throughout the world.
Everybody's winning that thing.
Well, that's why they're on the list.
That makes sense.
Next up, Roberto Bolaño, 1953 to 2003, also from Chile. So Chile.
A lot of Chile's representing.
Yeah, a lot of Chileans. One of the most famous post-boom Latin American authors, Bolaño was a Chilean writer who lived and wrote about Mexico and spent his final years in Spain. Bolaño became a kind of literary rock star as the founder of the Infrarrealismo movement. And by the way, I know my pronunciation of all these words are terrible. So just take it with a grain of salt. We're dirty gringos around here. Next up, Gabriela Mistral, 1889 to 1957, also from
Chile?
Chile. Born Lucia.
I feel like you have to be Chile.
Chile.
It's not Chile, it's Chile.
It's Chile. Actually, it's Chile.
Chile.
You gotta say Chile.
Chile.
But that just reminds me when people say salsa. Like,
Yeah.
that bothers me. Don't say salsa. Just say salsa. Born Lucila Gordy Alcayaga, Gabriela Mistral was the pseudonym of this Chilean poet. She became the first Latin American author to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Another Nobel Prize winner from Chile. According to the Nobel Prize organization, Mistral's poetry expresses the aspirations of Latin America. We're gonna have to look on a list to see like the country with the most Nobel Prize winning for like literature. Because I always thought like Japanese had a high amount, Americans had but fucking Chile,
Yeah.
killing it, bruh.
Might have to move to Chile just to
Chile.
take, to get one of those things.
Well, this next one is from Colombia, and he is probably the only one I'm like actually aware of his. Like I can name his books. I haven't read them other than maybe some short stories, but I want to read Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He is one of the most famous and notable modern writers of Latin America. Many years later, as he faced the firing squad, Colonel Aureliano Buendia was to remember that distant afternoon when his father took him to discover ice. That's the opening line of Garcia Marquez's most celebrated book, 100 Years of Solitude. That line changed the life and Latin American literature forever and would win him the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1982. I think that's the book that's just about like 100 generations of a family or something, and most of them have the same name, and it's very confusing and hard to follow.
Sounds like something up your alley.
We are back in Argentina with Julio Cortázar, 1914 to 1984. Cortázar is one of the boom's biggest names and is widely recognized as one of the greatest Latin American authors of the 20th century. His famous book, Rayuela Hopscotch, was the first hypertext novel. Oh, no, Hopscotch. I didn't know if that was the name of the person who wrote it, but Hopscotch is like a book. As far they might actually tell me, but I'm pretty sure you could read it and you just skip around pages and like do like a hopscotch game.
I mean, it makes the title makes sense that way.
Here we go. It can be read in different orders in the style of modern films by Quentin Tarantino and Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu. That's cool.
Yeah,
I want to read it. That's actually on my that was on our IRC list, like doing the narrator reading challenge. Yeah,
that would make sense.
Next up, Isabel Allende from Chile, 1942 to current. She is still alive. Oh, you know what? There's a list of some of the more popular books on here. I'll go back at the end of the episode and I'll read each name again with their books just so people could check out. But, that way you can remember it better. Isabel's godfather, Salvador Allende, was the first socialist president of Chile. He was killed in the coup de... I never say that word. Coup de grace? That sounds about right. That brought General Augusto Pinochet, I know the guy, I don't know his name, Pinochet, to power. As a result of the coup, Isabel had to go into exile. This inspired her early works, and she has now sold nearly 70 million books, Spencer.
That's it? Only 70 million?
70 million, which have been translated into 35 languages. She's also a Hollywood favorite, as many films are based on her books. I have not heard of these books, though. Next up, Mario Vargas Llosa. Nope, that's a double L. Mario Vargas Llosa. I don't know how to say the double L. 1936 to current. This is from Peru. Mario is a Peruvian.
It's me.
I believe you were a Peruvian maybe a few times on this show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have been.
Nothing good from there, though. You didn't do good things in Peru. Called the elder statesman of Latin American literature by the New York Times, Vargas Llosa is the last living member of the Boom authors. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2010. A man of many talents and interests, in 1990 he decided to run for the presidency of Peru, but lost in a runoff. And finally, Spencer, you ready for the last one? A Mexican author. Juan Rulfo, 1917 to 1986. No list of Latin American authors could be complete without Juan Rulfo, father of the magic realism movement. With just 2 books published, Rulfo opened the floodgates. Many subsequent Latin American writers found inspiration in this movement. So Juan Rulfo has written Pedro Paramo and The Burning Plain. These are their notable works. I'm sure they've written more. Mario Vargas Llosa has written Conversation in the Cathedral and The Greenhouse. Isabel Allende, actually it's a double L again, Isabel Allende, The House of Spirits and Of Love and Shadows, and also Eva Luna. Julio Cortázar, he wrote Hopscotch and Blow Up. Gabriel Garcia Marquez, 100 Years of Solitude, No One Writes to the Colonel, Love in the Times of Cholera. Gabriela Mistral, Despair and Tenderness. Roberto Bolano, The Savage Detective and 2666. Pablo Neruda wrote Twilight, not that Twilight, 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair. Octavio Paz wrote The Labyrinth of Solitude and Alternating Current. And Jorge Luis Borges wrote Fictions and Labyrinths and The Aleph. So there you go. Have you learned something? Do you want to read all these authors? I want to read that Hopscotch book. I think that'd be like I said, I've been meaning to get to that. It's just one of those ones I have not made my Latin American journey yet, which is kind of weird because obviously I've been learning Spanish and, fucking toying with it. I got a couple books that are half, like the pages that help you learn. So you have one page is in Spanish and the second page is the same page, but in English. Yeah. I just haven't gotten around to reading those yet. But I do want to read some Latin American art, but I feel like it would be my Japanese journey, like when that starts to wrap up more. I have a few Murakami works and a few Yukio Mishima works and the rest of Natsume Soseki's bibliography, and then I can move on. I know you're thinking, you need to read some fucking French philosophy literature and some goddamn Russian literature. I don't want to, Spencer. I'm not like you. I'm not like you. I don't want to be depressed all the time reading Russian literature.
No. That's nothing that I've even looked at.
But the Brothers Karamazov is a masterpiece. I don't care.
Though I wonder, because like how before we talked about with like Japanese literature, like the language barrier and translations. I wonder how with like the Spanish.
I think it'd be a lot more straightforward because Spanish is at least a Romance language and has Latin bases, where English has a lot of Latin words that are brought over. And there's a lot of Spanish loan words. I mean, I guess Japanese has them too, but Spanish, like, they have a lot of loan words from English. So, like, put it this way, you can read a Spanish newspaper, and even though you don't know any Spanish, you'll at least be able to pick out some words.
Yeah. So
if you even know, like, basic Spanish, that's enough where you can kind of navigate your way. Whereas Japanese, you got the characters.
Yeah.
It's very indecipherable at times. But I think it would be a lot of fun.
And just like the way, because like, even again, like with the Japanese, we've noticed like there's certain kind of characteristics or like ways or the kind of stories that they tell. Now, like, granted, those seemed all more like literary, more kind of works. So I wonder what more like the Spanish and Hispanic genre kind of stuff. Like, I wonder what that's like.
Well, I've read a few Spanish works from Spanish-speaking authors, and I can't remember the one lady's name, but I didn't really care for the book. It wasn't a literary book, though. I guess it would be more genre, but I don't know. It wasn't a good book, so I didn't really enjoy it. I can't remember the name, and it was like one of the first things I ever reviewed for DPW. But I've covered, like, I've read different, obviously translated stories, like sci-fi stories and stuff, and those are cool, but like I said, like, when you brought up like the Japanese, Spanish, like Latin America, they have like the more magical realism, and then obviously their themes that they go with would be interesting to kind of navigate and figure out, like, oh, this is something that, Latin American writers write about a lot. Like we saw like Labyrinth and stuff. Is that a thing that comes up in a lot of these, or is that just like those two authors? Because, Japan has a lot of like modern Japanese has a lot of nostalgia stuff, which you've been seeing with the Murakami works. Then they have a lot of stuff about honor, the seasons, a lot of nature, because they're a Buddhist heavy country, whereas Latin American countries are Catholic heavy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking they would actually share a lot in common with Irish literature, which would be interesting. Also, since we're on the topic of translations and that kind of stuff, it's not going to be anytime soon for the folks listening, because I know you want us to cover it bad.
Dying for it.
I picked up Spencer a copy of The Divine Comedy because he's been flirting with reading this stupid thing for years on this podcast. He talks about it like, oh, it's going to make me cool to say I'm going to read.
Gonna be a cool guy.
I'm going to read The Divine Comedy, Dante's Inferno, For the Wind. And then he thinks, he's like, oh, he's a cool guy talking about it. No, you got to fucking read it now. So when he reads it, then he can at least have an opinion. I got the translations again because I have multiple copies of that. I have that Barnes & Noble edition, which is the Longfellow edition. And I did some research. I talked to some folks about the best translations. The Longfellow one seems to be like the best classic translation. Then there's a Mendelbaum one, which I think I might have somewhere. I don't remember. I haven't read it, by the way, folks, just so you know. I'm just talking on my ass a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Well, my new excuse is because the new excuse was I didn't have it. So now my new excuse is like I will have to wait until you read it so we can talk about it and whatever. Like,
well, unfortunately for you, that's one of my top 7 books of this year. I'm going to read.
Well, yeah, we'll see what you get.
Well, I picked up myself a copy as well, the John Ciardi edition, because it seems that his version, because some of them with the translation, especially of epics, I've noticed, and when I've researched with the Divine Comedy. The issue comes down to Italian to English. You can't have a direct translation because it's written in poetic form. So if you directly translate it, it's not going to be in a poem form anymore. It's not going to, I don't know if it rhymes or not. I haven't gotten into it, but like just the meter and just, the rhyme schemes or just how it breaks down, it wouldn't be the same. So some author or some translators, they've done translations where they warp the words and stuff and change things up from the literal translation to better fit the schemes. Then some folks have translated directly, and it's not even in it's like just a prose book now. It's not even a epic poem anymore. And then other ones, which like the Ciardi one, it seems to be good for beginners because it keeps the poetic style and you gotta get the rhythm, but it still holds true to the original text as best it can while keeping...
And that's the one we got?
Yeah, while keeping the English readers' attention, because like I said, if it just comes off as weird random lines, you're not going to enjoy it. Like if the sentences aren't structured in a way that we can acknowledge as a story or a poem, we're not going to understand it that well. Like if it's put it this way, if it was in a prose style but broken up into poetry lines, it wouldn't make much, like it'd be stupid. You'd be like, why is it like this?
Well, that's the only, because your big books that you want to read, because those are all like poem formed, right? Or don't they all
the Iliad and the epic stuff? Yeah.
But so like how are they? But they're not like rhyming. Are they transferred into more of a story? Like
the Iliad,
more of a pro rather than like the
version of the Iliad, because I got the Fagles edition, Robert Fagles editions of the Iliad and the Odyssey and the Aeneid, because well, one, he's one of the more popular ones, and I read I've started listening to audio readings chapter by chapter of the Iliad as I'm reading it with it's like one of the most I can't think of his name now. It's one of the most popular translated versions, but that guy used a lot one, I don't really like how the translation is sometimes. It's like not necessarily wonky. It seems like it takes the action away. And then also they use the Roman names for the gods. So instead of Zeus, it's Jove. And you get like Mercury and Poseidon, or not Poseidon, Neptune. Like Poseidon would be Neptune. I like the Greek ones. It's a Greek epic. I want the fucking Greek, not the Roman version. But anyway, as far as like the Iliad goes, it's not a rhyming. It's more just like
broken up in the stanzas.
Yeah, like I said, it's stanzas, but it's like kind of like prose. It plays almost like a blockbuster movie. It's almost like a prose novel that was broken up into a play without the names for the play. So you wouldn't have like Caleb and then it would have my lines, or it's not broken up like that. It's just action, and it's kind of hard to describe, but it's
maybe more like a screenplay.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know much about screenplays, but it's enjoyable. It's a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. And the Divine Comedy, I hope, follows suit. But I already just flipping through, it does seem like that has, I don't think it's like a rhyming poem, but it does seem it has more of a rhythm. The Iliad, I can't really catch a strict rhythm, though I'm sure it was there, but then it might be the translation version. I don't know.
See, because like I said, that's always been my kind of like hold up on those kind of things. Like that kind of stuff, like again, it'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I've always heard about these stories and like watch stuff on like the History Channel and stuff, but to actually read the thing, but then it's like, I don't know how I would enjoy reading it in pro form.
Yeah.
Or in poet, in poet form.
Oh, poetry form.
Yeah.
Well, like Shakespeare, so far, what I've read, most of it rhymes, which I did not expect because, it's written in play form and stuff. I thought, oh, this would just be, dry Shakespeare. But it was like written in poetry form, like everything rhymes. So that's kind of interesting. Like the Epic of Gilgamesh, that didn't rhyme from what I remember. But I didn't like the Epic of Gilgamesh. It was only like 50 pages. But the Divine Comedy, I think we'll both enjoy it because it's broken down too. Like this version I got, the CRD version, it has in the back like all the footnotes. So wherever words highlight or something, if you don't know it or if you don't understand the meaning of something, you can just look it right up.
Right.
Which is good. But just from the little bit I was just flipping through and looking at, it seemed pretty understandable. It's not like Paradise Lost, which I think is going to be hard for me. That one seems a little bit more dense. The language maybe a little more archaic. And you can't really translate that one because that was in English.
Yeah.
It's like Shakespeare. It was written in English. I don't know what I'm going to really do about that. I just hope it's...
Yeah, because Paradise Lost came out after the Divine Comedy, right?
I'm not sure. Paradise Lost... John Milton was around when Shakespeare was around, or it's around that time. Let's just say 1300s to 1600s, because Shakespeare was like late 1500s, 1600s. I'm not sure. Milton came after, I believe. Maybe Dante was before. I don't know. I'll have to look that up because that also will affect my reading order of certain things. Because I'm trying to go in like not the order of publication, but just like trying to keep the dates. Like I'm going to these epics, and then I'm going to work my way through Shakespeare and the 1500s and stuff. Up to Ulysses.
Yay.
I'm super excited for that. I can't wait for you to read that when we do our Stephen King swap and I just hand you Ulysses, the big version I have. So that's about all I have for you today, Spencer. Unless you have a topic you want to touch upon.
No, I think that pretty much covers it, I think.
Ooh, big news.
Oh, big news.
Today, because I submitted American Short Fiction had a contest.
Ooh.
Flash fiction contest. The winner gets like $2,500 flown to somewhere in Texas, I think. Well, I got a response today, Spencer, and I was rejected harshly. It wasn't harshly. And I was like, I didn't even make the finalist. So that kind of hit me over the head with a wrench. I was like, because I was waiting so long to hear back, and I think that cost me $20.
Oh,
so
how long ago did you send it?
Months ago. I just wish they would have been like, oh, we're going to at least say the name of your story in this. But it was like, you know what? Fuck it, folks. We're exclusive.
Story time.
Oh, here it is. Dear Big Dick Jimmy. Wait, sorry. That's Dear Caleb.
Oh, you sure it's not? What was the one name? Chad or
Kent or Clark or something?
Yeah.
I think it was Kent. It was stupid, whatever that part. They sent me another message, by the way, and it was the same name. It's like, who the fuck is this guy? Kurt, that was it. Kurt, who the fuck is Kurt? I'm not going to have you on the podcast if you call me Kurt. Listen to one episode. We say our names many times. Well, at least your name. Thank you. Dear Caleb, thank you so much for submitting your work to the American Shorter Fiction Prize because it was they're the short fiction, but there was short-term flash fiction contest. 3 stories, by the way. We were highly impressed and moved by the stories we received. Not my stories, just the stories.
Just from other people, not you so much.
Unfortunately, we had to make some tough decisions, and we're sorry to say your piece did not place as a finalist. We consider it a privilege to have spent time with your work. Your story and the others submitted with it reminded us of the beauty and potential of the form. We wish you the best of luck in placing it elsewhere. It will be announcing the winner of the prize, blah, blah, blah. Sincerely, the editors of American.
They didn't look at it at all.
No, they could at least said the name of one of the stories.
Yeah,
it was 3 fucking stories. You could at least said something.
Of your story and then the others.
But fun fact, I submitted a story to them in October, and it never went into progress. And then this contest came up, so I submitted the story as well as 2 other stories to the contest. And then the previous one went in progress. And I was like, oh, no. And then they both went in progress at the same time. I was like, what if they accepted both? Like, what happens?
That'd be kind of cool.
Or what if they only accepted it the first time? And for the contest, I was like, I have to say, hey, you accepted this. Can't. I don't know. But they ended up rejecting both of them. So
problem solved.
Yeah, I can't wait to read the wonderful winning story. I'm sure it'll be great. Because everything else I read in that, I couldn't even finish one fucking issue. The story, Spencer... What are we doing wrong with our lives? I just think I need to pay somebody off or do sexual favors or something. I think it's just who you know at this point.
Definitely.
I do have those stories were also submitted elsewhere. I think it's a place with the Atticus Review.
I think haven't you done something for them before?
No, not the Atticus Review, but they accept emerging writers with less than 5 publications to their name. So hopefully, cross my fingers, they like my work. Though if not, I'm just going to quit forever. Because I got a lot of rejections lately of all the ones that were in my queue. Now I'm only in progress at 3 different places. Well, one pissed me off was Southern Indiana Review. I really thought they were going to like my story. And I got the most generic. Let me see if I can find that one. Oh, it hurt my feelings is what it did.
Thanks for the words.
Well, I even looked up the editor and looked at his bio, and it was like he seemed like I would jive with him. Like he seemed like he would enjoy the work. It was like the perfect story. I thought, oh fuck you, Blue Earth Review rejected me too. I didn't even want to. I hate when I get rejected by one I even want published in the first place. Ooh, I submitted the Amsterdam Review too.
Oh yeah,
I've not heard back from them obviously. Who am I looking up again?
Some kind of college.
Southern Indiana.
Yeah.
I might have deleted it out of.
I had a fury.
I think I did because it was so generic. Here it is. It's in my trash. Oh no! Wait. Ooh, I can look on Submittable. I forgot Submittable, folks. If you use Submittable and you get rejected, it tells you the message you got rejected.
Yay!
Let me just go. Ooh, I got another. No, I don't. Uh-oh. Ooh, I am. I'm in review at the Atticus now.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Good beans.
Because I saw one less thing, which means somebody might have just fucking. I always hit accept first to see if anybody accepts me. There's just no submissions found. I need to submit the Iowa review. I think it was East Iowa. I forget what it was, but they really liked my one story. They just didn't have room for it because they literally were at the tail end of their thing. She told me to submit personally. She wanted me to submit again.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
So I need to, when they open back up, I need to keep an eye on that. Dear Caleb, thank you for your submission for an upcoming issue of the Southern Indiana Review. Unfortunately, we are unable to accept your work for publication at this time. Sincerely, SIR. Not even a name for someone who rejected. Like, give me a name. Give me your name. Is it Kurt? Is your name Kurt?
Are you fucking Kurt?
Are you fucking Kurt? So grievances aside, folks, we thank you for listening. You can follow us at DPW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and also YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
Because as me and Spencer look, some of our episodes have lots of views and some don't have any. Yeah. I don't know. We don't promote anything on there. We just post the podcast. Non-video form. Spencer, he is. I gotta say your name. He has a big name.
Yeah.
Spencer.
In Spanish.
Spencer, I don't know either of these words in Spanish. Spencer, the Halitosis Harbinger of Jalisco Church.
Well, what about my name in Spanish?
Spencer Church?
Yeah, it wouldn't add, there's not like a...
It'd be your name, so Spencer Church.
But they don't have there's not a Spanish
version. Oh, you're saying if there's a Spanish version of Spencer Church?
Yeah.
Church, I guess. What's the Spanish word for church? Oh, Spencer. I just got a message from your mom. Oh. She said you're not Spanish, so quit it. So you could be... Oh, wait, that's wrong. I put an S in church.
That's not
Figured
right.
that one. I started with it. So you could be Spencer Iglesia.
Oh.
There you go. Spencer. Oh. And I am Caleb Jimenez. You can follow me and my writing journey, and if I get accepted anywhere else ever in my lifetime again, at calebjimezk.com. I like that. Soft J. You can be Jimenez. So we thank you for listening. We may be doing a special Murakami Minute episode with a special guest Not Haruki Murakami. Don't get your hope. Not even a Japanese man, but somebody who's been to Japan.
Yeah, so that's a leg up.
But it also been on the podcast before, so it doesn't take much investigating if you want to find that. But if that does come about, keep your ears open. We'll let you know, and that'll be published as soon as possible.
Yes.
Also, Spencer wants me to get Richard Chismar on the podcast, so maybe I'll try.
Yeah.
See? And then there's so much research I got to do.
You just got to send an email.
I'll let you host that one. We'll change names. Oh, here's the thing. If we get him on, are we doing your dumb name? We've done it even when we had guests. We're like, what if we had Stephen King on the podcast? Would you want the fucking dumb name?
I don't know. That'd be. I almost feel like we would have to. Almost.
I would do Derry.
Yeah.
Or or at least somewhere
like Castle Rock, or
Castle Rock,
something like one of his towns.
We'll deliberate off air. Thank you for listening. We'll check you out next time.